Welcome everybody to the Farm Business Resilience introductory webinar today for horticulture. For some of you may have attended the Department of Agriculture drought response and assistance webinar also, or you may have been to one of the regionally held workshops on the new drought assistance and farm business resilience program. Today we will focus on the horticulture farm business resilience program so that you can see what the tools are, what's on offer, and have a little bit of a sneak preview of what it looks like, and also so that you know where to get the information and who to contact for assistance. We'll also provide you today with an introduction to Bentleys, who will be available for you to help you with to provide advice with your farm business resilience planning, and also other business services, which I'll explain a little bit further. Today, what we're going to do is provide an overview. We'll run through what the program looks like. We're also going to use the chat function on your Zoom for questions and answers. So towards the end of the webinar, we will have questions and answers. So have a look at where that chat function is, and at any time, feel free to pop your chat questions in there, and then we will review them towards the end. You'll also see that I've put a little welcome in there. Feel free to say hello on there now, just to test it, say who you are, say g'day, and hopefully that way you're comfortable to ask some questions. We'll also provide the team at Bentleys contact details for you at the end of, or towards the end of the webinar. So we will see a short film presented by Rowan, who actually can't be here with us today because he's with growers, but we've also got Brendan and the team that can answer questions, so they are here on the webinar, as well as the Growcom resilience team. So the other thing, just for a bit of housekeeping, we have kept everybody else muted, so that's why I'm saying use the chat function. And if you've got your mobile phone, please have it handy, because what we're going to use is a little app that will show on the screen that we use for, it's a polling app, so you'll be able to say, how's it going? And that way we know whether or not we need to flesh out more areas, or if there's questions you have, then you know, we can approach that through that polling app as well. So so grab your mobile phone now if you don't have it handy, because it will be of assistance, but also know that you can use the chat function as well. Okay, now I'll just click down to the next slide. So just an overview, farm business resilience in horticulture, what it is and how it's funded. So it is funded through the National Drought Fund, so it's an Australian government initiative, and also through the Queensland state government, through Department of Agriculture and Fisheries, and the Queensland government's Drought and Climate Adaptation Program. So you'll see that there is quite a lot on offer through the National Drought Fund, but also through the Drought and Climate Adaptation Program across the state. So, and part of that is obviously the Farm Business Resilience Program, and for horticulture specifically today. So today what we're going to do is we're going to provide you with information about reviewing all aspects of your business, how to do that, what tools to use, how to complete the risk analysis, develop your plans, and access grants and loans through Queensland Rural and Industry Development Authority. As well as that, I will provide you with some introductions to the team that are with Growcom for horticulture, because we are based right around the state. First of all, I'll introduce you to John, who hopefully has just popped up on your screen, John Target, who is helping all the growers in central Queensland. John, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's John Targett. I'm the resilience officer for the central region. I have about 20 odd years experience working with agriculture and the cattle industry in government and non-government organizations. And I'm familiar with the Q-Rider process. Thank you.
Thanks, John. And in the South region, we have Brock. So I'm not sure if Brock can pop up on the screen at the moment or not. If he doesn't, I'll just let you know. So it's William Brock McDonald. Brock goes by Brock. Brock works across the southern end of the state. Brock, like a lot of people right now, is enduring quite a bit of flooding, so his internet has been in and out all day, so he may not be able to join us right now. Brock has been working in agriculture his whole life also, and has previously been living and had farms in central Queensland. So again, he comes to us with a great deal of experience. So it's obvious. I'll provide these details with contact details at the end of the webinar also. And I'm also your contact for North Queensland. I'm situated just outside of Innisfail. And again, I've worked with agriculture and in agriculture for many years, everything mainly based around the business side of things, business economics and rural systems management. So just feel free to contact us. Now, the other people that you'll be hearing from today are the team at Bentleys. So we'll have Rowan on a presentation that we'll show in a moment, but also Brendan Golding, who will be here for the question and answers a little later. So just so you know, for those that aren't aware or haven't used Bentleys before, they're an international network of advisors and accountants, and they've got expertise in audit and assurance, business advisory, corporate recovery, financial planning, superannuation, wealth management, trusts, estate, taxation, and research and development in tax incentives. They have also had a great experience, like a long-term experience, helping people to apply for funding from Q-Rider and for private financial providers. So you will hear from them today as well. So Rowan Dunstan will be on the video, but Brendan Golding will be here for questions and answers. I'll just click on the next slide. So where do you get the information? The information is easy to find. Just go to growcom.com.au and you'll see that there's actually two access points off our facing web page. There's the one that takes you directly to the Farm Business Resilience Planning, and also another one with AgriLearn. AgriLearn is an online platform with learning resources, mostly based around disaster resilience and response, but it also includes drought response and resilience information, including the links to this. So the other place is the DAF website, which you'll see information for all industries. On our AgriLearn website, which you can get to from Growcom, you'll also get access to all the other industries like cane growers, Queensland Farmers Federation for poultry, pork, cotton, nursery growers, and also you'll see there's a DAF website on there as well. Now, just to move on to the next slide, that is the Farm Business Resilience module, just to explain what we've done to enable easy access and guidance for growers for farm business resilience. We've embedded what is essentially a checklist of questions that have been developed in collaboration with Department of Agriculture and Q-Rider to assist you to develop a risk analysis and complete your farm business resilience plan. This is essentially the farm business resilience module within Hort 360, Growcom's best management practice online platform. So Hort 360 BMP is an online platform that you can use to analyse all aspects of your business. So why do farm business resilience planning? Farm business resilience planning, like business planning, helps you to identify your goals, or work on your goals and update your goals, identify your business and climate risks and strategies to manage the risks. So I'd like you to think outside of just drought, but at all aspects, climate adaptation and how you can use this. And also for all aspects of your business, which Bentleys will also be able to help you with things like business structure, governance, and so on. In addition to having the online tool, as you've met John and I've mentioned Brock and myself, we are here to assist you. So we can come to you to help you to complete this process, answer any questions, provide you with contacts in all areas of your business, and also to facilitate, develop training opportunities, workshops, and so on. So we've got a few of those coming up and we'll talk about those a little bit later. So how do we do this? It's through the Hort 360 program. So you can get onto the Hort 360 through the Farm Business Resilience links, or directly just go www.hort360.com. It's quite simple. And to show you what it looks like, the Horde 360 program, like I said, it's a best management practice program. What it does is help you to analyse all aspects of your business. Now, I'm not sure how clear that comes across to you, but you can see that it has everything from analysing nutrients to better business to biodiversity to waste, irrigation, energy, biosecurity, and so on. They are the primary modules. Then what we've done is pulled information from all of those modules, plus any additional questions that the department or QWriter require, and formed the Farm Business Resilience Planning module, which is identified by that logo that you can see there in front of you in the purple. So within that, we have 8 components. Those 8 components are really looking at, again, all aspects of your business, but we've just shortened up some of those questions. What it looks like inside the Hort 360 Farm Business Resilience module and those components is this. So the horticulture operation, which is one of those 8, for example, comes up with various questions. You simply click and what the answers are for your business. So it might be asking you, how evenly does your system apply water within the block? And you might say, well, mostly there's no variation, but we've also got some variation. So you've got 75% for one and 25% for the other. When there's a row of 4 questions, it adds up. You make it so it adds up to 100, and then you can click the next button and you go on. Some of those components are simple yes, no answers. So they're not the 4. So those 8 components there on your screen, that's what it looks like inside of those. When you've completed that, it will automatically have developed a risk analysis tool for you. So that risk report is based on how you answered those components. So if you answered them in a certain way and it identified that there's risks, it will then say, okay, well, here's the risk that you've shown from the answers that from the questions you had, and these are the possible actions to take. This can be saved. It's a PDF. It can be printed, and you can apply it directly to your farm business resilience plan. So at the end of that action, at the end of the risk assessment, sorry, that's just gone one too many. You can also see that it will provide you with a simple graph to tell you, to show you how you're progressing and perhaps what your ratings were according to the way you answered it. Each time you do the module, you will get a new bar graph and you'll be able to see how you've progressed. So if you did this annually, you can check how you're progressing. In addition to that, there's also another graph that will show how your answers to those questions rate against every other person that's done those questions as you progress. So there's obviously no personal details or anything like that, but it's just generally you can use it as a benchmarking tool if you wish. So with that risk assessment, you can then apply that directly to your farm business resilience plan. Now, this here is the plan that you use to provide to QRider. Sorry, I've just gone up again. This farm business resilience plan, as you can see, this is the front cover in the next page. This is all pre-populated, so you don't have to write this in. Because you've registered for Hort 360, and you've completed your details as part of this program, it already populates this for you, so it saves you that much time. Then the next, I'll go back up, sorry. The way it works is you can actually click on the drop-down box, which can be drawn directly from the risk assessment. You can copy and paste whatever you like from that risk assessment into the question. So we have got this designed so that it covers all the questions that QRider would like you to answer. And then you can form what it is that you want to then apply to QRider for funding to focus to make you more drought resilient. But as I said, in this time when a lot of the state are actually impacted by flooding, you can use this for any type of business planning. It doesn't have to be for drought. So that's the basic information. What we'll do now is just ask you a few questions to see how you're going. And this is the part where I mentioned you'll need to get your mobile phones. What we're going to do, I'm going to get Nat to actually share with you the next part on what to do.
Okay, thank you, Karen. So if you just grab out your mobile phone, we're all quite used to taking pictures of our QR code. So all you need to do is just open up your camera and scan that QR code, and it will take you to the online polling platform Slido. Other option, if you want to prefer to use your web browser, you can go to slido.com and insert that number, and that will also link you through. So if I go over to the first question, do you understand what is offered to you through Growcom's Horde 360 platform to undertake farm business resilience planning? So if I give everyone just a couple of seconds there to answer. Okay. We seem to have stopped, so I'll flip over to the next question. Do you understand how to access Farm Business Resilience module, action plan, and plan templates? Okay, and finally, last question, do you feel capable of making a start? Excellent. There we go. I'll hand back over to you, Karen.
Okay, thanks, Nat. Okay, that's good. We just did that to just gauge, because there was a lot of information, and I'm very conscious that I may be going too fast, but the other thing is we've got opportunity to ask lots of questions. What I will explain to you now, again, I've just shown you that, you know, where to get further information. And I have mentioned the QRider funding, but I haven't given you a lot of information on that. Remember, you do have QRider officers across the regions that can also answer questions, and you can also talk to us. Go into the next slide, which is not working for me. Now it is. So basically, this is there's a lot of different options with QRider funding. I will speak specifically about the funding for the farm business resilience, and that is, first of all, I'm just fighting with this. Excuse my delays on my mouse click, because I have a delay with what's happening on the screen to what you're seeing. I'm trying to go back to, maybe I'll just leave it alone for a moment there. Nat, if you can go back to that first QRider slide that shows the $2,500 grant. The $2,500 grant is what you can use to get some advice and work with people like Bentleys. So, as I said, the team are here to help you from Growcom. However, from there, what you might like to do, you'll identify some risks through this process, and some of those risks you might say, I actually need to get further advice, because they may be the make or break for us and our sustainability over the next 10 years. This is a great opportunity to get in contact with people like Bentleys, and also apply that grant where you can get $2,500 back off sharing your farm business resilience plan. So we will show you, we'll provide you with more information about what you can get through Bentleys in a moment. With the drought preparedness grants, which are up to $50,000, which as a co-contribution to the total cost, you can apply those for on-farm capital improvements to improve your drought preparedness of your property. And that has to be identified in your farm business resilience plan. For these grants, for this grant and for the loan I'm about to show you, you must have a farm business resilience plan to be able to access this funding. So that $50,000 is up to $50,000 is 25% of the total cost of your capital improvements for your farm business resilience plan to undertake the works that you need to do on property. My internet has become unstable, but the next one is actually a loan. And I might need Natalie's assistance to click on the next one because it's not working from my end. Thanks, Natalie. The Drought Ready and Recovery Finance Loan. So it offers up to $250,000. Again, you need to have a farm business resilience plan to apply for that. But the other thing that I didn't remind you of, that I'll tell you now, that you do not have to be drought declared to access these. These are purely for planning purposes, so that you can work on your farm and identify how can you be more resilient for the funding, and then you can commence work. Do not commence work first. Make sure that you apply for the funding before you commence work. Now I'll just try and go down to the next slide, and it's not 100% working for me. Nat, you might have to do it for me. Oh, here we go. The sustainability loans. As you know, QRider have quite a few different loans that you can apply for. The sustainability loans are up to $1.3 million. They do have different eligibility to the drought loans. So there is, when you look through the guidelines, you'll see that there is qualifications in assessing your ability to get further funding from private financial providers, unlike the drought ones. But something I'd like to point out here is if you can actually access a QRider sustainability loan, you can use that loan as your balance for the $50,000 grant that we mentioned earlier. So that can be your co-contribution. Again, like I said, you can apply directly to QRider for further information. I'm just trying to get this to get down. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just introduce you to Bentleys. Oh, sorry, the Real Financial Counselling Service. It is available. It's a national service. You can just go to either contact one of us for your local provider if you don't already know them, because that's probably going to be easier, or you can get that from the Australian government site under the National Recovery and Resilience Agency. It has moved. It's a new area, so recovery.gov.au. Now, I'll introduce you to Bentleys, and Nat's going to show a short clip from Rowan, who I mentioned earlier can't be with us today because he's with growers. However, Brendan's here to talk to you in the question and answer session. Thanks, Nat. We're just trying to upload the short film.
Sorry, 1 second. Here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Rowan Dunstan. Sorry I can't be on the webinar in person with you today. I'm currently travelling out west, but I just wanted to introduce myself, give a very short presentation about Bentleys and the FBRP on the webinar to answer any questions you might have, or at least collect your details so we can take the conversation offline. Just bear with me while I share my presentation with you. So a little bit about Bentleys. So we're a specialist agribusiness accounting firm, and what we mean by that is we have a large client base in regional and rural Queensland who either have primary producers themselves or otherwise services to the industry. Bentleys started as an accounting firm in central Queensland over 70 years ago, and as a result, our core clients, or our regional client base, I should say, consists of a number of prime producers. We're full service accounting firms, so that means we do tax compliance, self-managed super funds, tax planning, audits, corporate recovery, and R&D. We also have a finance broking division and an insurance division, as well as a wealth and financial planning division as well. Myself personally, I've been with Bentleys for 12 years now, so started as a graduate and have a client base that predominantly consists of primary producers, whether they be sheep and cattle growers, veggie and fruit growers, or broad acre cropping producers. As a result of having a client base like this, myself and others at the firm have been alongside QRider for a number of years now in ensuring that our client base is able to access the relevant grants and loans that QRider has been able to offer over the number of years. So we're well experienced with the application process and the requirements that QRider generally need to see. So a little bit about the Farm Business Resilience Plan, or FBRP, itself. So you're possibly wondering what that is. Hopefully you might have seen something about it in a previous webinar or seen something online about it. But for those that, it's essentially a plan that should be identifying your goals and assessing your strategies and plans to manage risks within your business, and including drought. So it's essentially a two-step process for those growers to assess or access funding in the forms of grants and loans from QRider, specifically for drought assistance. And essentially your FBRP is your way of showing to QRider that you have taken the time to complete that goal setting process for the business, And further than that, to actually critically assess your business's risks. And this should include drought risk, but might also include other risks. And then take that another step further to identify the strategies that you're going to implement to manage those risks. It's about working on your business rather than in your business. It's something that's probably easier said than done, given we're all so busy. Once that FBRP is completed, if you then wish to apply to QRider for one of their particular loans or grants, the first thing you will need to do is be able to show them that you've got that FBRP in place. Some of the grants and loans that QRider are currently offering and which would require an FBRP are listed below, including the Drought Preparedness Grant, the Drought Ready and Recovery loans, and the Emergency Drought Assistance Loan. Just some other things to keep in mind as you're going through the FBRP process is just some common financial pain points or risks that we often see of client businesses. And they're easily fixed if you've got the time to and you want to actually make a change to your business. So the first one is more common than you think and probably a little bit scary, is not actually having any budget to which you're working on or working your business towards. And therefore you're not having anything to actually scrutinise your business's actual performance against. Some clients are really good at it. We'll do rolling budgets every month or every quarter. Others prefer to work towards an annual budget that they set in May each year for the following 12 months or following financial year. And then they'll sit down and do the process again. Obviously, we all know those working in the primary production sector, any financial result is often weather dependent, and that can change in an instance. However, having a budget that provides a base case in which you can work towards is fundamental to risk managing your business. The second point, having no succession plan, that's probably a little bit more case by case. If you've only just since taken over the farm from your parents, you having a succession plan may not be necessarily your highest priority, and that's fine. However, if you are in that sort of later stage of your career and you do have the next generation coming through, definitely having a succession plan or working towards having one is fundamental. And the third point, having no diversity of income or assets is again easier said than done, given often those in the rural industry, it's very capital intensive, so any spare cash is generally going back into the business. But this is having a budget and sitting down and critically assessing the risks and putting some plans in place to manage those risks will then allow you to hopefully generate greater profits and potentially plan for a diversified income stream or diversified asset base going forward. So how can Bentleys help with the FBRP? So we'd like to work with as many growers as possible who would like our assistance, and we think we can offer assistance in a range of different ways, and that will be on a case-by-case basis. But as a starting point, we've listed there high-level support and premium support. So depending on what you think you might need and how much support you want from us, we can kind of tailor it into one of those two levels. Pricing will be on a case-by-case basis and dependent on those types of support options as well. But given every business is slightly different, everyone's needs and risk levels and risk assessments will be slightly different. Rather than trying to cookie cutter this, we thought easier to provide a more customised service. There's a little QR code there on the right-hand side. So should you wish to get further information, you can obviously send myself or Brendan an email or give us a call, or further you can use that QR code to access some further information on our website. My details should be on the screen now. And otherwise, I believe Brendan will be available later in the webinar to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, so we'll thank Bentleys for that, and as we said, Brendan will be with us to answer any questions that you have following from this. Now, Nat's just going to share with you a couple of questions. We just want to check how things are going. So just to move on to the a few closing questions, we again will show you contact details and websites as well, and then we'll go to questions and answers. So go ahead, Nat.
Yep. Okay, so if we all just grab our phones out again, so this will just be our last little wrap up couple of questions. On the next page, we've got our page will go over. No. There we go. So just if you want to scan that QR code once again to get into the app on your phone or back onto your slido.com web browser. Just looking to see, do you feel that this webinar was useful? Just give that a couple more seconds. Okay, and then finally, just looking to see if anyone would be interested in further webinars or in-person events on topics that are relevant to business resilience. And that seems to have stopped. Excellent. So I'll hand back to you, Karen. Let me just check that you've got remote control. There we go.
Okay, thank you, Nat. Okay, so again, I just keep coming back to the page that we had all the links. Just look very simply, just go to growcom.com.au and you'll get the information. And you'll also see our contacts as far as the offices go, and we can put you in contact with Bentleys, we can put you in contact with the rural financial counsellors, we can put you in contact with your local Q rider, regional representatives, natural resource management groups, whatever. And depending on what we start to identify as commonalities in regions or commodity groups, we will then hold workshops for those different areas that have been, that are showing up, or what you're telling us that you want. So we actually have a few coming up already. We've got a focus on finance workshop, which is a regional workshop, which will be held both at Gayndah on the 1st of June and then at Stanthorpe on the 21st of June. Now, these are just the start. We do expect, and we're already in planning, working with Bundaberg fruit and vegetable growers for another finance type workshop in the Bundaberg Wide Bay area next financial year. We'll also have more finance workshops in other areas of the state, including Central Queensland and North Queensland, because you'll see that currently the ones that we've got planned for Central Queensland being Rockhampton and far North Queensland, Dimbula, they actually have a focus on natural resource management, so soils and water use efficiency, because that's the areas that's the areas of risk, and that those growers have identified they'd like us to hold a workshop on first. So that's working in with other providers, the local, the regional natural resource management groups like Fitzroy Basin Association and Gulf Savannah group as well as linking in. There'll be lots of other people at those workshops, like the rural financial counsellors and Q rider and other consultants. And Bentleys will be attending the workshop in Gayndah and probably join us online for the one at Stanthorpe. But again, we can organise whatever workshops you'd like following on from that. Now, what I'll do, there was another slide that had our contacts, which we'll show at the end. But right now, we'll just go into some questions and answers sessions, and that way I can see what questions you might have had. So remember, the chat function is at the bottom of your screen. So you'll see there's a little emblem there for chat. You can click on that and you can ask questions. I can see that Marcel has put the contact details in for Rowan and Brendan there from Bentleys. So please take time to note that down. And they've also got a fact sheet that is directed specifically at this farm business resilience. So the web link is on there. I'll just go up. I get to there's the welcome, and I'm not sure Jamar had put something interesting in that it wasn't for us, obviously. Has anybody got any questions? Please add your questions to the chat. This is an opportunity, no matter how small. The only silly question is the one that you didn't ask. Can participants only look at drought mitigation strategies, or can I also consider other non-farm activities to build resilience, such as against flooding? Absolutely. So the farm business resilience, use it as a business planning tool. So this is a whole farm's business planning tool, regardless of what funding you apply for to get the work done that you want to get done. If you want to use this tool, and then you also want to use this risk analysis and do the plan, and you want to use that against flooding to help you to be more resilient for other drought adaptation programs or for your future, please use it as such. The funding that comes with this is, however, the drought funding through QRider. And again, that's just a federal government decision that was made at the time. But farm business resilience and farm business planning, as is business planning, is something you should be doing on an ongoing basis in continually improving your business. I'm just wondering, Brendan, you work with a whole range of different businesses from across agriculture, and I know you will have some very strong thoughts on as to why you should do business planning or planning for your business. Would you like to add something?
Yeah, thanks, Karen. Look, just for those who aren't aware of me, just a little bit of background of me. I've been with Bentleys for about 7 years now, and a lot of the work that I do in Bentleys is with rural producers. So across a whole different range of sectors: cattle, sheep, but then also on the farming side, horticulture, broadacre cropping, etc. Look, I'm involved in the QRider Farm Business Analysis Assistance Program, which is probably not too dissimilar in a number of respects to the programs we've been talking about now. It's essentially a program where producers and growers can access assistance from the Queensland Government through QRider, through this program, to assess essentially if they're having a financial hardship, to assess in their business what their options can be, to look at assessing where they might be able to look at making improvements in their business. So Bentley sit on the panel for that particular program with QRider, and we've worked with a range of different types of businesses through that process. And a lot of that program, the clients that we've seen over the last 3 years, have been affected by drought. No surprises there about that. So essentially what we do in that program is not too dissimilar to looking at business planning within a rural business. And so essentially we sit down with the producer or the grower, we talk about how they're travelling, how they're going financially in the business, what some of the things that they're currently doing in the business that are working, what things they're doing that aren't quite making a return for them, or they may not even understand what impact they're actually having on a financial level to their business, some of the things that they're doing. So essentially we sit down with them, work through where their business is at, work through what the business is doing financially and where it's situated. And essentially that involves running through their financials. And then we have a chat about some of the options in the future for them that they'd like to pursue, and where they want to get their business to be. So in terms of using that particular example, it's really useful. We find the feedback from clients overwhelmingly has been that's been a really useful process to understand essentially where their business is at and strategically where they'd like it to be going forward, and then working through with them some of the options they can look at in their business to achieve their goals in the medium to long term financially. So it may be diversifying some of their markets. It may be looking at using or introducing new pieces of capital equipment to diversify their business or to improve the returns in their existing business. So we've had conversations with a range of growers in horticulture and broadacre cropping, and essentially that process has really helped understand where their business currently sits financially, and where it could be in the future, depending on what options they take going forward. And that's very akin to a business planning process, to what you mentioned, Karen. So we think it's an absolutely essential part of auditing where a rural business sits, and also getting an understanding of how to take it forward, where you want to be going forward, and what types of options you might want to look at in that business to get to the financial goals you set.
Excellent. Thanks, Brendan. So that's a great overview. And sometimes people, us at Growcom and in the industry, we also recognise that, we have a whole range of different growers in different situations for businesses, and sometimes, especially in times of disaster like right now, things get quite tricky and we're not sure where to start. So sometimes we're not sure about contacting people like Bentleys, and maybe we're not actually in a situation where we're able to. So remember, there's also the Rural Financial Counselling Service, and if you are in a situation where you're not sure, remember you can also access the Rural Financial Counselling Service, and obviously the aim of the game services like Bentleys to really ensure you get the maximum profits for your investment in your business in the longer term. We're moving on from this. Thank you for joining us for today. Please don't hesitate to contact us. I'll just ask Nat to again share that final slide that has our contact details on it. Again, we will put you back in contact with Brendan or anyone else that you think might be able to help you. I urge you to go to growcom.com.au, have a look at the farm business resilience program. You can use this module, you can use your risk assessment, you can work with your rural financial counsellors, you can work with Bentleys with what you've got. They will provide advice and say to you, okay, you've got this here, you've got this, have you thought about this? The more people that you ask and use advice from, the better your plan will be. And remember, you've got that $2,500 that you can get back from the cost of using services from consultants and advisors such as Bentleys. So please don't hesitate to contact us. There's our contact details, and thank you for joining us, and thank you, Brendan, for joining us live today.
You're welcome. Glad to connect.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you from us all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brock. Thanks, John. Thank you, Nat. Bye.